Hi folks, welcome
Hello.
back to ViewOf2.
Mhm.
It's an impromptu session today.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss openly subject matter,
Yeah.
and we'd appreciate it if you like the content, if you would subscribe and hit the bell notification, as well as share and like and comment.
And comment, yeah. We love reading your comments, no matter how long they are. We'll get through them and answer you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So today I wanted to bring up a subject which is can be touchy, but
Yeah.
I think it's important that we raise it, and that is what men and women want.
Yeah. In an actual relationship.
Yeah, not in a fleeting fling. That's an easy one.
Yeah, because those are two different things.
Yeah, those are two different things. So this isn't a long-term or a relationship or a marriage.
Yeah.
What is it that we really want, and what forms our opinions, and can we change those opinions?
And how well do we understand what the other
Yeah.
sex wants? Or gender. Sex is a better word, right? Because gender is fluid.
I'm sure.
So, I think the way to start it then would be to have a cross.
Yeah.
How can I put it? I'll say what I've always thought men want from women, and then you can perhaps help me out there, and you can be honest about what you thought women wanted. Now, of course, it's a bit tricky for you because you haven't dated in a while. You're married.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find you
Navigate.
out there, or be found, whichever. So it's an interesting dynamic that we have here.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to try and figure out back in the day what it is that you.
No, but I still can see what I think women want.
No, but I think you've been married for a while, so you've had
I've
to
been
adjust
unfair
it.
advantage.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't think you've always thought the way you. I don't think you've always thought the
It'll
way
be a
you think
difficult one
now.
because my core has changed so much.
Yeah, but cast your mind back to
I'll
when
give it
you
a
were
try.
young and handsome. So I'll go first because I've been thinking about it for a while. When we're growing up and when we hear guys talking, the first thing is always about the physical appearance. That seems to be 90% what guys talk about all the time. And it's always a slim shape. It's never a
Svelte.
yes.
Yeah.
It's never a voluptuous woman. You seem to also be attracted to big breasts, big butts. I mean, that's why the Kardashians are the way. That's why they are the way they are. And
They've made themselves the way they are.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And also for in the black community, it seems to the color of your skin is also something that's very, very important. And so if you are a light-skinned girl, you're considered
Yellow bone.
yes, if you're a yellow bone.
Okay.
So if you're a yellow bone, you're considered automatically more attractive than a dark-skinned girl. So example is a light-skinned big girl will be seen as more attractive than a light-skinned than a dark-skinned
small girl.
big girl.
Okay.
If we were to compare
If you're
the two.
comparing, okay.
And then a light-skinned small girl will be more attractive than a dark-skinned small girl. So complexion plays a big role within the black community. But I have to say, I think complexion plays a big role amongst white people
With
as
hair
well.
color and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but also with skin color.
Yeah.
People will talk about porcelain skin and white as whatever it is. We're thinking you're all white, but apparently there are shades of white within white people. And so for us, we've always been taught or told or felt
Or forced into that.
yeah, that physical attraction makes sure that you're slim if you want to attract a guy. That's been the most, and then it's kind of exasperated by the fact that the magazines we read then tell us that how to exercise, how to eat. We're constantly on diets, not because we don't like eating, but because we feel that in order to be attractive to the opposite sex, we have to maintain a certain weight and a certain look. we wear makeup, we do all sorts of things to try and be attractive because we're told these. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. Anyway, really? So we do all of these things because we're under the impression that this is what guys want. And then on top of that, you say you want a lady in the streets in a whore in bed, and we're like thinking, where are we supposed to learn our whorish ways? Because because then if a woman does try and learn these special ways, she's then labeled as something. So how am I going to be a lady and a tiger in bed all at once? And if I'm acquiring the tigress skills, I'm then seen as
acquiring the tigress.
Yeah, I'm acquiring the tigress skills. I'm seen as loose. I'm then seen as not a lady. It seems to be very contradictory and not fair. And then the other thing that I'm finding now is that guys are putting great emphasis in the earning power of women. You're starting to say that if she doesn't make her own money, if she can't afford her own car, then I don't want to be with her. If she hasn't got a certain type of education, then I don't want to be with her. Which is then confusing, because then when we start earning our own income and we can drive our own cars and we can afford our own homes, then we're seen as too independent. So we're very confused as to what you guys want.
My word. Well, we'll have to address that, but
yeah.
You done with yours?
Yeah, I'm done with my part, I think.
Guys have a similar issue because, as far as we can tell, women want someone to have a lot of cash. Ambition.
Yes.
Is a huge thing. Along with the cash come driving a nice car, having a nice home, having cool equipment in that home, Gaggenau's and Miele's. And,
I will say gadgets are yours.
No, in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so, if you want to eat.
And you got to be toned.
Yes. Okay.
Well, yeah. I've learned a few things since then, but you have to be toned, have lots of good drip.
Oh, you've learned the drip.
Drip and drip. So there are those sort of epidermal things that are, well, I say this because they're above the skin. Appear to be, although that drive and that ambition is more an internal thing, but most of the things I've mentioned have been epidermal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we also like humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a good one.
Yeah.
Which is one we'll get into, I suppose.
Yeah.
Humor.
Yes.
Yeah. So those are the things that guys generally feel women want. They want that assertive, strong, well-off, good-looking, tall, dark, and handsome scenario.
Absolutely. I have to say, though, there's a difference between... Oh, I'm sorry.
Carry on.
There's a difference between being assertive and being overbearing.
And that's why I said assertive, not overbearing.
But I think for men, I don't think men understand that difference. Why we enjoy assertiveness is
it's a calm surety.
Yeah.
Rather than a bull in a china shop.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, now you've just taken it.
Sorry, took the wind out of your sails.
Yeah, but we like assertiveness because it tells us that you're able to make decisions clearly, and therefore we can trust you. And ladies, I'm going to be very honest. I don't know if you will agree with me, but yes, we do prefer men with more money. Yes, we do prefer guys with flashier cars, but there's a reason for that. I've thought about this, and ladies, help me out with this one. The reason why we want men with more money and better cars is because it's an indication to us that this man is able to provide. So before,
as long as it's not flashy cars on a huge HP and
what's an HP?
Hide purchase. Well, and so it's like you've got to look at how they've acquired the stuff as well. So.
But that comes afterwards, right? But if I'm seeing you for the first time,
so the gold digger instinct hits.
You see, and I agree, and it's very confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because you'll call that being gold digger, and that's fine, but you don't understand why I'm a gold digger, right? And men
I
tend
don't understand why you're a gold digger.
Yeah, men think it's just about the money, and I'm saying it's not just about the money. The money is an indicator of something else about the man. It's an indicator that he's able to provide, that he has ambition, that he's a hard worker. It's not just the money is the first. It's the
epidermal.
Yeah, it's
first step.
the first thing that makes me then go, okay.
So it would be like a guy's attracted to the look of the woman. The woman would be attracted to his wealth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
the look is not as important as his ultimate ambition and his ability to look after you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So women are more likely to give the opportunity to a man who perhaps isn't as attractive in a crowd, because we are more, attracted to your minds. That's why humor is so important, because humor for us is an indication of your ability to think on your feet, to do all sorts
Witty.
of things. Yeah, right.
Intelligent.
Yeah. And we're thinking, I don't want to have dumb babies, so.
Okay. And guys, funnily enough, humor for guys, chicks don't have to be funny. In fact, they're not funny. So we don't.
Girls are funny. Girls are funny.
To yourselves, maybe.
Yes.
But guys, we don't need witty, humorous women. We're attracted to you already. We don't need that extra layer of so-called wittiness. We just.
But we like
it. No. Maybe when you talk to your friends, maybe, but not. Guys don't find you funny. We're not talking about stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
Some of them are funny.
Yeah.
But if they're using very sort of crude behavior, because they're trying to listen to sort of a manly response.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
But women, nah, don't think so.
Well, I think women are funny. I think when we're with our guys and they laugh, it's because they find us funny.
And the thing is, you don't have to be funny. So don't try and be funny with a guy. You don't have to make him laugh for him to be attracted to you, because he's already attracted to you. And with a guy, I see it that a guy, one of the ways to attract a woman is to get her to laugh, but not only laugh. It's a belly laugh where the back of her head flips back and you get that sort of horseshoe-shaped tooth, and the tongue is just that belly laugh opens you up to her more than it would if you didn't.
Absolutely, because that belly laugh indicates to us that you've thought and minds have met.
Yeah.
And that's why we like it. But going back to the whole gold digger thing, I really think it's unfortunate that men think of it as just us wanting their money, and it's not. It's a great indicator.
Well, yeah, generally that's the case. Yeah.
It's a great indicator of your ambition, and I want you to be ambitious, because that's what manhood is to me. Your ability to go and get stuff, to go and acquire stuff, to bring back to the home is incredibly attractive.
Slay the beast.
There we go. And now the beast is the economy.
And now, when we bring the beast home, we want that beast to be nicely prepared.
This sounds so
filleted and ready for the oven and then presented.
So this is you.
So this is the woman will then take over. Now, for a guy, on a more subcutaneous level, not so much the epi, we are looking for something different to what most women think you're looking for.
So you don't want an attractive woman?
100% want an attractive woman. Just like you want that financial stability. We want the attractive woman. But we want something for a long-term relationship, which is going to be an indicator of how they're going to firstly run the home, treat you as an individual, your behavior. So, for example, we want women who are kind.
Okay.
We want women who are nurturing. It's an indicator of their ability to mother.
So what does nurturing mean to a man?
It's protective, it's considerate, it's caring.
Okay.
It's looking out for the other.
Okay.
It's putting the other, not all the time, but the other before your needs. Because that's what children do to you. They take everything from you. And
Hiram has 2 sons.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
A little bit of experience there.
Yeah.
So there is that you're judging the woman on her ability to put others or to be considerate, I think is another way to do it. And then the other thing we're looking for is we want a homemaker. So what I mean by that is someone who cooks, and it sounds very traditional and could be offensive.
It does sound very.
The point is, we're looking for these things as an indicator for a long-term relationship.
Even to this,
even to this day.
Then why look to women? And this might be a bit difficult for you because you've been out of the dating scene for so long.
30 years.
But why is it that men are now looking for women who have their own car and earn their own money? And they don't seem to put the nurturing
because generally they're beta males.
Yo, Hiram.
Do you know what a beta male is?
Hiram.
What?
You're gonna say this to everyone?
Why not?
Okay. What is a beta male?
What do you think an alpha male is?
He's a leader. He's a provider. He's a fighter. He's a protector. He guides.
He knows what's right, and he does what's right.
Right. Okay.
So
I was wrong in everything I was saying?
No, I'm adding to that.
Okay. Right.
Definitely not wrong.
Okay.
Now, an alpha male will understand his role is as provider and protector.
And provider meaning what?
Providing the financial and the protection, all of those aspects.
But would you say we live in an age now where it's almost impractical? And are you also saying then those women who want to work?
No, not at all. I'm not saying it's a complete. That's how it is.
Yeah.
But if you come into a relationship prepared to do those things, and if the ebb and flow brings change, that's fine. But if you come in there and you're not prepared to do those things, I think there's a problem.
So if I'm a woman who goes into a marriage and I'm not prepared to be a homemaker, but I'm prepared to pay a chef, you're still eating the best food, babe. It's just,
Yeah, but to me it speaks to your commitment level.
I'm committed to paying the chef.
I'm sure you are. With whose money?
With the money that I'm going out to make.
Okay. Look, I mean, as I say, there are ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the male now.
Yeah.
If I come in with...
Okay, I see where you're going.
If I come in with an expectation that you must provide, I feel I'm shortchanging the relationship. Because my expectation is that I should provide. And things change, but that's my core belief.
Okay.
It could change over time and as things vary, but I think that it's important that we place emphasis on our core roles in society, because society is made up of families.
Yeah. And
it's a successful society when the families are successful. And so what are the core fundamental successful traits in a family?
Yeah.
Is that the father has a role and the mother has a role. They're not unequal, they're just different.
Yeah.
And so the father would be the provider, the protector, the mother would be the nurturer and the carer. That's not to say that's the only role they have.
Yeah.
But the fundamentals are, when you have a child, that child needs to be nurtured and cared for. And it can't be done by anyone other than the mother. In my book, the father might come along, if you're in a Nordic country or a Scandinavian country, and say, no, the father's role, but someone needs to nurture. There needs to be that nurturing.
Yeah. And this is where I think I'm going to come across as incredibly traditional, because I think in as much as a father can be a nurturer, women do nurturing best.
Exactly. And I won't argue with that.
And naturally do it best. It's not to say all women find it natural to do that, but generally speaking, not all.
Not all.
Women are the better nurturers than men are.
And men are the better protectors.
And providers.
A man's role is to protect and provide. And that's just a fundamental makeup of the male.
Yeah. And so then it becomes very confusing then when today's men and men going their own way seem to be saying, well, we don't want to be put into this box. Because are we saying that society is changing? Or perhaps society is perhaps changing, but the fundamental cores of what makes us us isn't changing?
through thousands of years, it's been proven: mother, father, nurturer, protector. Those are the building blocks of what's going to make society strong. Yeah. And that's what we should be building towards. So whether society is changing or not, I can't, well, obviously it fluctuates, but that building block's got to be strong.
You know, it's very frustrating for women, and men don't seem to have the same issues. Men, I think, if we're being honest, are still seen as having their providing role.
Yeah.
Perhaps we're not saying in as much. So if I was to say before men had 100% the role of providing, there seems to be a leeway for men now. It doesn't have to be 100% if you're providing for the family, at least 80%, and then I as a woman can provide 20% of that. You're still kind of seen as playing your
Put it this way, if you don't provide, then there's a problem.
Then there's a problem.
So we're all happy. He's providing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't mind if I do my part. And then as soon as he stops providing, it'll be like, oh, geez, guy's fallen short of his potential, and he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And
Spelele calls it man of the house money. If you're not coming with man of the house money, then you can't be having man of the house expectations. It's called something else. But
the other thing, what people don't understand is that, and I know this could be sensitive, but women generally want to look up to the man.
What do you mean by up?
And we've had this discussion before. I'm not saying look up as in revering as a god, but look to them for leadership potential, look to them for decision making, look to them for surety in situations.
Yes.
And so it's a role that will then demand certain things to be in place for that to happen.
I think if we're being honest as women, generally most of us want a strong man.
Yes. Right?
We want a man who is stronger than we are. We don't want to have to wear the pants in the home. We can wear them, but we'd prefer not to. We prefer men to be men. And so we prefer men to be stronger than we are. And that for us is, as a man, being a man. We prefer the ability to be like, okay, you do this. And when I start to have to be the disciplinarian in the home, it becomes a bit of an issue for most of us. But where it gets a little bit tricky is there is this belief that a woman is mostly a woman if she's a housewife. And it can be very, very, it's a war between women, right? For those women who it is not natural to be a housewife, are you then saying as a man you see her as less than?
No, it depends on what you want out of your relationship. So surely you would communicate prior to getting together and having children, having a home together. Surely there would be that need to communicate. And if the woman doesn't want children and wants a career, or if she does want children and wants a career, that then causes the dynamic change in the relationship.
But just you as Hiram,
personally,
do you think that if I were to want a career that's outside of the home, does that make me less of the ideal woman?
No, I don't think it's less of the woman.
Less of the ideal woman.
I think it is less of the ideal woman, but how do you mean ideal woman?
Well, I mean, if you're looking for a nurturer, you're looking for a homekeeper,
then it will be less than that.
And so
by nature.
But
it's not less. The person isn't less than. It's just in that respect, with regards to the way that has been framed, then it's out of the bounds of that nurturing, caring, being at home with the children, traditional scenario.
So what if I'm able to provide all of those things as a nurturer, just that I've found different ways to provide it? And so the example would
That'll have to be navigated in the relationship.
But if what you're looking for is someone to be able to nurture your kids, and if I find a domestic helper to do that, aren't your children still being looked after?
No.
They're not being looked after?
Not by you.
No, not by me.
Yes, but that's the
directly. But if I'm guiding the domestic helper,
guiding is not the same as doing it.
Yes, but So for you, it's not about the fact that the children get it. It's you want them to get it from me.
From the mother.
And so the fact that they might be getting the best possible care is immaterial.
Yeah.
Really? So what about a mother who is at home but doesn't provide that?
Then there's another problem.
Right? So then then in that conversation, then it must be about the thing and not just about who gives it to them. What is more important?
Well, who do you feel when you have a child? Well, granted, I haven't had a child, but
when you give birth.
When you give birth.
Oh, I've never given birth either.
There's that natural bonding. Not all people have that. Some people don't.
Not all women have that.
But a lot of women have that natural bond to be able to have that relationship with that child.
Yes.
And to hand that child over to another, or in my mind's eyes, to abdicate that responsibility, for me, doesn't work.
So if you're then saying that I have that natural bond, why are you assuming that that natural bond goes away? Why don't you trust the fact that because I have that natural bond, because I've carried this child for 9 months, then I can be able to say what's right and what's wrong for it, and I have that instinct within me because I've had that bond. Because
so, do you feel that a child being raised by a domestic would be right over you raising the child?
I don't think it's about who raises the child as such.
I think it's fundamentally about
I think it's fundamentally about what the child gets. It's fundamentally about nurturing than it is about who gives that nurturing. So ideally, if the mother can give that, then that's best. But if the mother feels that somebody else, so if your grandmother can give you that nurturing a lot better than your mother can, what is important for the child is nurturing.
I get the feeling that what you're alluding to is the fact that some women don't feel like they can be at home. They need to be working.
They need to be working. And so they then get judged and seen as lesser nurturers. And there's also this assumption that just because a woman is at home with her children, she's nurturing them, making that effort to nurture them. And that's where that fight is. And so if you come from a society that is heavily about the family, I'm trying not to bring other stuff in, but heavily about that. And if you don't want to stay at home, if you come from that society, then you're seen as less than. Whereas if you come from the world and women are supposed to be out in the working world, then you're seen as. But really, it should be about, if you've decided to form a family with someone, it should be about giving the child what's best. And I agree with you, nurturing is the best.
I would say if a mother doesn't want to be at home with the child, then it wouldn't be best for the child for her to be there. So I agree with that. But from my point of view, and it's not a general thing, it's a purely thing. I feel that a child would be best raised by the mother. If the mother wants to stay at home, but in my world, the mother would stay at home. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But in a general sense, some women feel that staying at home doesn't work for them. Some women feel that it's not their purview. So they feel that they need to be out working.
In fact, there are some women who will go as far as to say that it is because I'm working that I can be the best mother that I can be, because I am now making a concerted effort to spend time with my children and to give that nurturing, because I know that my time is cut up. I don't have the luxury of time with my children, and so I try to make that time that I have with them actually count. And there's the argument that for those women who stay at home, there is the taking for granted that, well, because the time is there, you don't necessarily have to then make that time count. I will give you this, and it was a conversation that I had yesterday with Wads. I've realized parenting style is incredibly important, and putting effort into how you parent is really the conversation that I think couples should be.
But that's where
having.
And that's where the crux is that the communication needs to be open about what each other expect of each other, and then an acquiescence to it or an unacceptance of it. That's going to result in the thing working. And that has to happen, I think, before the event of settling down in a relationship. And not many people have those really difficult and sometimes incendiary discussions where they say, okay, these are my expectations. How can you expect that from me? That's not socially acceptable anymore. And I'm like, well, that's why the world isn't the way it is, because things that were traditionally set out to work are now being booted to the back seat because they're patriarchal or they're unfair and that. And I believe that that's where there's a fundamental issue.
And some people might argue that it's never worked, but because people didn't have the opportunity to express themselves, it seemed like it was working when it wasn't. But here's the thing about negotiation. And it's something my mom has taught me. You start off your marriage having certain expectations and having had a conversation. As you grow, you change as a person. You're meant to change. That's just what growth is. And the things you started off expecting from each other then change. And so it's possible that you might, as a couple, say, I'll make the money and you stay at home.
Yeah.
And then the man might find that he's unable to provide for the family in the way that the couple had decided was necessary for the family to be provided for. Or the man is adequately providing, but a woman doesn't feel like she's fulfilling her role as a woman by just staying at home. In fact, she's becoming resentful of that role, and so it's permeating to the kids. The husband is starting to feel this discomfort, and so she says, honey, in order for our relationship and our family to work, I need to be able to do something outside of the home. These are conversations that can be very, very difficult. And if we're going to go back to, but when we first met, this is what you said.
But it doesn't change for me the fundamental things men are looking for in a woman.
Okay.
And that is the nurturer, the kind person. Those are, irrespective of that, these are the sort of characteristics that men are looking for in women, is that kindness. They'd rather have someone kindly approach them than B-word approach them.
Okay.
They'd rather be
B-word, I like that.
They'd rather be listened to and appreciated and loved than judged and aggressively handled.
Okay.
I know it sounds counterintuitive for our nature, but guys will react a lot better to a woman who is approachable and kind than someone who is aggressive and cactus-like.
I will say this, okay, just going back to why I was perhaps waxing lyric about all the other stuff, is it's within the definitions of these things, within the definition of what nurturing is, that it becomes a little bit of a mess. But I think as I've grown as I've grown older, I've realized that as women, because we concentrate so much on what we think men want, and it's very much physical, we haven't really understood what comes naturally to us and how important it is for men. So generally speaking, not all, we are nurturers, we are kind, we are loving, we are giving. And we almost seem to set that aside because we haven't thought that is important. And so it's quite a surprise.
But it is fundamental, because what women don't understand is when you do those things, the guy wants to be with you.
Yes, I know. And that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
It's not like he has to do, you don't have to convince him of anything. The times that you do the things that I've just spoken about, the guy wants to stay.
But the reason why we don't understand that is because when we hear men talking, they very rarely come to us and say, I want someone kind, I want a nurturer. Those are not the words they use.
Once again, this is for a long-term bonding relationship.
Yeah, but these are not the words that we hear men using in describing their ideal woman. The words we use, that we hear, and perhaps I'm hanging around the wrong circles: make your own money, have an education, go to gym, look a certain way. It seems as though men emphasize these things when they're talking to us, and they don't talk about the other part. And so we then develop more on this part and almost neglect the other part.
Well, that's
and
why
then it becomes
we're
a
having
surprise
this
for us.
discussion, is because I believe that men want those things. I'm a man. I want those things.
Yeah.
South Africa, the world.
What do you think?
What do you think?
And for women, when we tell you what we want, perhaps we're not clear. And so when we talk about a lot of money, when we talk about the cars, when we talk about the alpha male, because we're not explaining to you why we want those things, you then call us gold diggers. Meanwhile, we're finding that we actually want the same thing. I want a man who has a lot of money because it indicates to me that he's able to go out there and provide for the family. It's not about the money. It's an indicator of who the man is and how capable the man is in defending and acquiring
and along those
for the
exact
family.
same lines, when I say nurturing, it's not that you must stay at home to nurture, but there needs to be that spirit of nurturing in the woman, that spirit of kindness in the woman. So whether they want to go out and work or not, I see your point about their intention is as such, and they're providing the nurturing in a certain way, but you've got to have the nurturing spirit to want to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's where it falls down.
Yeah. And I think it really does go down to the definitions, and perhaps more than just saying what do we want, we then define what it means. You know, and that's a really interesting conversation for couples to have, and they perhaps don't have them. Is when you say husband, what is that in your mind? And when you say wife, what is that in your mind? And do we have those nitty-gritty conversations?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've touched on the subject and have opened up a dialogue with you out there. What do you feel?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on what the role of the man and the woman are, and what they expect from each other or want from each other?
And for those of you who've been in long-term relationships, have you ever had those conversations, or did you find out as you were going that actually, honey, this is really what I thought, and this is what I want? For those of you who've just gotten married, you know, did you have those discussions?
For those of you who are thinking of getting married,
have you had those discussions?
Exactly.
You know, we really, really want to hear from you. So please comment and like and do all the things that
please, if you like the content, continue to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and share this information and like it, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Good.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.